All right, guys. So I just wanted to show you for reference what OBS will look like when you have it all set up for the IAHSEA showdown. So this is going to be a little bit goofy because I'm showing you OBS while also trying to use OBS. So I won't actually be able to transition to some of these different scenes that are over here because once I do, you will lose kind of this overall view of the OBS window. But I will show you guys some things here and some things via web browser that I want you to be aware of so that you know how to get this all started. Okay, so if you look, first of all, we have all of our scenes in here, and it looks like a lot. It is, but a lot of these are very, very simple sources, right? This screen capture one is only here because I'm using it right now to record. That will not be on yours. But we have our welcome screen, our be right back screen, our gameplay screen for Siege, our viewer guide for Siege, our brackets for Class 1 and Class 2 of Siege. Then we have our Smash gameplay, we have our viewer guide for Smash, our 3 different class brackets for Smash, and there's our games. Then we have our ad slideshow, all of our individual videos, and then an awards background. So yes, there are a huge number of scenes that are on here, but a lot of these scenes are very, very simple, and they include just a single source or maybe 2 or 3 sources. Before I show you guys some of the reference materials and what those look like, I wanted to show you guys how to add some of that stuff into OBS when you're trying to set up one of these PCs. So the first thing you'll need access to is the OneDrive folder that contains all of the video and ad assets that we're going to use for the streams. And so if you follow me here into Chrome, I will share this folder with you all, which is IAHSEA State Showdown Assets. And then obviously we're in 2025, 2026, so we're going to click on this. And then we have 2 things in here that you guys will want. You'll want to download this folder. Now you can just download the entire thing. However, that will probably download incredibly slowly. I think it's actually slightly faster if you click in here and download the assets one at a time, which I'll show you. And then you will also need this IAHSEA fall25.json. This is a scene collection that you can import directly into OBS, and that will allow you to more easily get this entire thing set up. So instead of setting this up completely from scratch, if you go to scene collection and import the .json file, it will create all of these for you, and it will also attempt to grab them, the files, the videos, etc., if you have them downloaded in the same form as the original source. So if we click on this folder here, we'll see a folder for ad slides, restaurant logos, sponsor logos, stream overlays, the ultimate stream tool, the video ads, the viewer guides, and a couple other random things. I would just honestly click on this, download, and do this one at a time. The folders will download as an extracted folder, or sorry, a compressed folder like this. So you will need to extract those so that you can get access to the contents. The other things will just download kind of on their own. I also found that it was much faster if I clicked on the video ads folder and I just downloaded each video on its own. Okay. But you are basically going to download this entire collection of files. That way you can import them into OBS. Now, the way that I'm doing it here and the way that will be easiest to import on the streaming PCs at the venue is if you just create a folder on your desktop and you title it exactly this, IAHSEA State Showdown, and then you extract and put everything in here, right? If you do this, then theoretically, when you import the .json into OBS, it's going to look for the desktop IHSEA Showdown folder and try to pull everything that it can. It will not grab everything for you, and I will show you guys in person how to go locate the folders and the files that it does not find for you. But that's how you would do that. I also wanted to show you guys just briefly what some of these reference materials look like. So, for example, if I have the gameplay source for Rainbow Six Siege, right? I took a screenshot of what it looks like in OBS since I can't actually show it to you. You're going to have three sources. You're going to have a match overlay, a stage overlay, and a full screen background. And then actually you'll have a fourth source because you'll of course have the gameplay from Siege itself, which I did not have Siege open, so it is not present and showing in here, right? Look at the layering. The layering does matter. So we're going to put the full screen background all the way on the lowest layer. That's this kind of lasery looking grid in the background. That should only show if for some reason the gameplay itself is not. The stage overlay is this bar on the left and right, as well as this ticker along the bottom. You will place that in as a browser source, and I will show you where to find that in just a second. And then when you're adding it in, you're going to set the size to 1920 by 1080 pixels. That will perfectly fill the screen. Match overlay, same thing. It's a browser source. You're going to put it as 1920 by 1080, and then you are going to put it on the top layer. Again, I will show you guys where to grab these browser sources in just a moment. And then for the actual Siege gameplay or Smash, you would put that on this second layer right above the background, but before the overlays. And then you're actually going to change the size. It will not be 1920 by 1080. It will be slightly smaller than that. I will give you those dimensions in class. Okay, so this is what one of the gameplay sources may look like. Again, R6 gameplay, background, then the game would go here, then the stage overlay, and then the match overlay. Another reference image that I will show you is the brackets. So the brackets are very simple. You will have this background image, which is a web browser source. It's this blue kind of wavy source. I will show you where that is at. And then you will have the web browser source to each of the class brackets. Again, I will show you where all of these are at in just a moment. They're very easy to find and import into OBS. What else do I need to show you guys? The last ones would be the viewer guides. Whoops, sorry, nope, I don't need that. It would be the video ad with the background. So for each of these video ads, Fit Gamer, Coachify, MCC, etc., you are going to include two media sources, okay? The media source that will go on the background layer on every single video is the MCC Esports Management background video. That one is, let me find it. That is this one. Okay, so this video right here. We place this video on the background layer and then we let it loop, because when the video ad is done, if we aren't paying attention or flipping it right away, the video will close and then the viewers in the space will see this, and then we'll be able to scan the QR code to go to the esports program management link on the MCC website. So you will put this as the bottom layer in every video, so when that video closes, people see this instead. Then the second layer will be, or the top layer will be, whatever the actual video ad itself is. Also keep in mind with the video ads, when they show up down here, you're going to need to drag those decibels down and change the audio so that it is not peaking into the yellow or the red. You want it to peak right about here in the green. So I believe those are all of the reference images that I need to show you. And then the last thing that I'm going to show you guys is how you can get those web browser sources that I talked about. So you're going to open up a new tab and you're going to go to IAHSEA.leagueos.gg. Now, I think you may have to be signed into an actual account, which if you need mine, I will give the account credentials for that. You may be able to do it as a guest. That would be easier, but I am not sure. But we're going to operate under the assumption that we're logged under my account. And so then what we would do is we would scroll down to either the Varsity Rainbow Six Siege or the Varsity Super Smash Bros. Seasons under the active seasons. We're going to click on Siege here. And then it is going to show us the different classes, but what we care about is the postseason. So the Class 1 and the Class 2 postseason. Smash will have a Class 1, a Class 2, and a Class 3 postseason. But you will click on the arrow for the postseason you want to look at. And then you can click on view for any of the matches that are here, literally any of them, okay? So if I click view, again, this is where you may have to be logged in as me. There should be a tab over here for resources and then for overlays. Okay, this is going to give you a huge list of web browser sources. This button opens that in a new tab so you can see what it looks like. So if I click on the match overlay, it'll take a second and then it'll show me what that match overlay is. But if I just click the bigger button, the match overlay button, it will copy to my clipboard and then I will paste that as a browser source into OBS. And so again, if I look at reference for the gameplay screen, that would be, that would be these right here. Okay, so the match overlay and the stage overlay. It is important to note that the match overlay must be updated every time for every match. Right now in my reference image, you can see it's for IAHSTW in Central Springs. But if the streamers switch to casting a different game in the bracket in the tournament, they will need to double click the match overlay and paste a link to the new match overlay in the game. They will not have to change the stage overlay, just the match overlay. Okay, and those match overlays again are right here. So if I wanted to go, let's say that I was sitting on pod 2, and let's say that pod 2 was about to cast the Dyke New Hartford Griswold match, I would click view on that match specifically, then resources, then overlays, and then click on the match overlay, and then put that into OBS. There's a lot of other tools that are on here. We don't use most of them. We use the stage and the match overlay for the gameplay screen. And then we use the bracket overlay. This is how you get the bracket for the class. So if I wanted the Siege Class 1 bracket, I would copy the bracket here. If I wanted the Siege Class 2 bracket, I would go to the Class 2 postseason, click on any match within here, go to Resources, Overlays, and then get the bracket overlay from that class. And then the basic background, that is the wavy line background that I use behind the brackets. So it's not just a black screen. So that is right here. A lot of these other ones are neat, but they either won't be reliably updated in the tournament or the information on them is outdated. And so we will not be using those for this tournament. So that should be all of the sources that you guys will need in order to create this. Now, the last step that I will show you is on OBS how you can import the .json file so that it builds out most of this for you, and then you are just grabbing the files that OBS does not detect. So once you have the .json file downloaded, which should be here, right? I would, again, make this folder, put it here. Then you're going to open your OBS. You're going to go Scene Collection. You're going to go Import. You're going to click Browse. You're going to go to the desktop or wherever this is at. You're going to find the .json and you're going to click Open. When you do that, and I'll just show you. Actually, no, I won't because it will break this stream. But you will then click on that and then it will pop up with a dialog box to show you what sources it could not find. That doesn't do all of the work for you, but it does serve as a reference to get you going for building these sources out for the state tournament. Keep in mind, this video did not cover setting up audio sources. It did not cover stream settings like the connecting to YouTube and the different delays and things we might need. This is just to get all of these sources in via OBS. So there you go. You are free to use this as a reference while you are trying to get these things built.